Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday, so please make sure to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button. Taking a look in the chat this morning, good morning Rob, good morning PG, good morning Randy, and good morning second Rob 2 in the chat. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, please don't forget to like today's stream. Let's hit a like goal today. Let's put a like goal in at 30 likes today. I think we can do that today. It's already looking positive. We're on 9 already and the stream's only just started, so it's looking good. Smirthy says, watching live due to a day off. Afternoon, Jess, and everyone in the chat. Afternoon. Thank you very much for tuning in, and good evening, Jason, all the way from Australia. Let's see what's going on with the price of Bitcoin this morning, first of all, because Bitcoin's up 3.14% within the last 24 hours. If we take a look at this, Bitcoin is trading at $43,550. If we take a look at what's going on the Bitcoin chart here, you can see we got another bounce of this zone of previous level of support, which we were looking at in yesterday's stream. This is between the $42,000 level and the $40,800 level. We've used that as a level of support on the 4-hour chart. If we go to the daily chart, we've used it as a level of support there as well. So the Bitcoin price is moving from strength to strength. We were really in an uncertain period of time at this point. We've also broken this previous level of resistance, which was a concern. So this was a level of resistance that we used back in June 23 and in November, and we'd used it as a level of support during this period of time as well in December, January. We have destroyed that. We have broken back up above that. So I'm in fact going to delete that level off my chart and just take a look at some horizontal levels here and see what's important still in the markets right now. Now, for definite, I would say I am keeping this $42,000 to $40,800 level as a significant level of support. We have broken above it and we have used this as a support. Jason Smith said yesterday to throw it though out today. Sorry, I don't understand that comment then. James says, morning Holly, just a little late. I don't get the Holly joke. Please explain. Brandon says, perfect timing right when you started talking. Let's see what's going on here. So we've used that significant zone that we were talking about in yesterday's stream as a support. On the 4-hour chart, we've seen it be used as a support. And on the daily chart, we've seen it be used as a support now. So this is really interesting because here, the markets were extremely uncertain. And I was saying on these live streams, look, we don't know which way it's going to go yet. We are either going to get a retest and use these levels as a level of resistance and look at these lower prices, or the dump is over thanks to FTX finishing their dump of GBTC, and we are going to start moving to higher prices. And that seems to be the play right now. But I'm still being pretty cautious at this point in time. I think, as I said in yesterday's stream, I think that until April 2024, when that Bitcoin halving arrives, we have a price zone, which I don't think is likely that we will break out of. Now, nothing's definite, but I think there's a zone that we will likely stay in until April 2024. So if we take a look at that, I'm looking at that $50,000 level. This is a level that I've been saying about since about a year ago when Bitcoin was down at $20,000. I was saying, look, Bitcoin halving, I reckon we could reach $50,000 before then. And so hitting $49,000 is not a bad shout. Could we go higher than that? Yes. Do I think it's likely before the Bitcoin halving? No. So what we've got here is that is kind of a ceiling on the price movements right now. And right now, we have some significant levels of support, which I think can hold quite strong. But I do think the lowest we could see, that there's a high chance that the lowest price we will see is around that $34,000 level, where a lot of long traders get liquidated. So I'm looking between this range for the next couple of months. Right now, we are using this zone as a level of support. I think this is a significant zone to be aware of, and this makes me feel a lot more confident in the Bitcoin price. But I want to be aware that, look, things are changing very quickly. Right now, we have a major level of resistance at that $44,200 level. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. And obviously, that level of support is here. If we manage to break through this today, I will be very shocked by the price of Bitcoin and the way that it is moving right now. Maybe this was just going to be a bear trap, and we liquidated those traders in the short term, and we are coming up to higher prices now. But I'm being cautious here. What we could see is a bounce here and some price movements within this range. I'm being cautious at this point in time. If we zoom into the lower time frames, you can see we've had a pretty nice rally within the last couple of days here. We've moved up pretty significantly. If we take a look at the percentage, we're up 9% since we started this rally back on Friday last week. So that's a pretty significant move. If we do come down and retest this zone of support again and use this as support again, we are just making it stronger and stronger, so it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But we are now back within this price range that we were in between the 4th of December and the 2nd of January. So this is a price range that we could definitely sit in for a little longer, a couple of weeks in fact. I'm keeping a close eye on these levels of resistance and support because the level of resistance is strong and the level of support is strong. So it's going to take a lot of momentum to break through those. Now, we do have some really bullish news in today's stream, but let's go through that today and see what's happening. Before we continue, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's see what's going on first of all in the news today. So we've got new zero fee standard for Bitcoin ETFs creates cheap custodial alternative to exchanges. So we were all talking about spot Bitcoin ETFs and how brilliant they are, but I was saying here on the stream, look, I think it's brilliant. I think it removes a barrier of entry in the cryptocurrency space. It means a lot of people can come and get access to cryptocurrency very quickly without doing much research, which is what a lot of people choose to do, especially in a bull market. But I was saying, look, I'm not going to invest into them. The fees will be higher than buying them yourself, and you don't have that self-custody aspect or the ability to make peer-to-peer payments, which is what we use Bitcoin for. However, the fee point has been obliterated. What's happened here is Bitcoin ETFs have been competing. The issuers of these ETFs have been competing to have the lowest fees. And what we're seeing here is for the next 6 months, most ETFs waive fees entirely as competition heats up here. And that is creating competition for centralized exchanges. A lot of people were choosing to invest in Bitcoin via actually buying Bitcoin off exchanges because of the lower fees that were anticipated. But now it turns out that there are zero fees for a number of months when using Bitcoin ETFs, thanks to the competition with these issuers. So people are looking at this and going, well, it's actually cheaper for me to invest via an ETF. So why not do that? And as we discussed on the stream a couple of days ago, we were talking about tax and how you can kind of work around that with Bitcoin ETFs. If you get an ISA, tax-free ISA, all of that kind of stuff. There are also advantages of using ETFs as well. So it's definitely worth doing research into this and looking at the different fee structures. We all are here for self-custody, all are here to be able to make peer-to-peer payments, peer-to-peer transactions, so there are those limitations still in place. But as time is going on, and as we're seeing news like this, I'm becoming more and more interested in allocating some of the portfolio towards ETFs just to get away a little bit from the self-custody. I think self-custody is a brilliant thing, but I also think it does impose some risks as well. So it's interesting to see what the alternative options are now they are available in the market. But let's take a look at what else is going on with these ETFs, because Fidelity and BlackRock have outpaced GBTC's outflows for the first time since launch. So, GBTC was a Bitcoin trust. It wasn't an ETF. Grayscale had launched this Bitcoin trust a very long time ago. It was essentially just a fund that held Bitcoin. The value of its underlying Bitcoin was not pegged to the value of the fund. There was huge discrepancies between the value of the fund and the value of its Bitcoin. I think it went down to 45%, where the value of its Bitcoin was worth 45% more than the value of the fund when you were trading on the stock market. So a load of people were taking advantage of it at that point in time and took a huge arbitrage trade, essentially managing to buy Bitcoin. This was when Bitcoin was down at $16,000. People were buying GBTC stock for around, about $10,000. if you bought the equivalent to one Bitcoin, it would be like $10,000. And then that arbitrage opportunity is closed. So it'd be back up to the value of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has already gone up to $49,000. So you're investing 10,000 and getting 49,000 back within the span of 1 year, 13 months. So it was an absolutely insane opportunity there for those that did take advantage of that arbitrage. And those people are now choosing to take profits, which is absolutely fine. And we are also seeing people moving from GBTC to other ETF products now that GBTC has transitioned into an ETF, because the alternative ETFs have lower fees. So there's competition in the markets now and people have alternative options. So people have been moving them funds from GBTC into other Bitcoin spot ETFs, and we have seen a huge amount of selling pressure coming from FTX as well when it comes to GBTC. So they were huge investors in Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. They have sold close to $1 billion, I want to say, of GBTC, creating a huge amount of outflows for that ETF and creating a little bit of fear in the markets just after those ETFs had launched. Bitcoin did perform well in the short term from these ETFs. The first day of launch, Bitcoin went up to $49,000. It was a successful launch day for these ETFs, but for the week following, we saw a huge amount of outflows for GBTC, and we saw fear enter the markets and the price moved down 20% for Bitcoin. But it hasn't lasted long. As we've just discussed, Bitcoin's price is back up. We're now up at $43,600. So we are seeing nice movements here for Bitcoin. And it seems that although GBTC is still experiencing this selling pressure from arbitrage traders taking profit and from people moving into other ETF funds from the competition, we are seeing Fidelity and BlackRock now outpace GBTC outflows for the first time since launch. So we're seeing a net positive now between Fidelity, BlackRock, and GBTC. So this is positive here. This is what we want to see here. Let's see what else is going on in the chat to see what else, not in the chat, let's see what else is going on in the news. We've got some things to discuss here away from spot Bitcoin ETFs now, because we do speak about those a lot, and I don't know how interested everybody still is in the spot Bitcoin ETF. So let me know in the chat what you think about the ETF news, whether you're still interested or whether you want us to cut that bit down slightly. Before we continue, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's see what's going on here. So what we've got is Ethereum ETF will not be approved until after US presidential election. Investment bank TD Cowen has stated they do not believe a spot Ethereum ETF will be approved until after the US election. So, investment bank TD Cowen anticipates that the US SEC Commission will not approve any spot Ethereum exchange-traded funds in the near term. Now, it is expected. We're seeing analysts say, look, there's a 50% likelihood that these ETFs will get approved in May. The next deadline for these Ethereum ETFs is set for May, but they're saying, look, I don't think this is likely. What they've said is we do not expect the SEC in 2024 to approve a spot Ethereum ETF. This is a political call. We believe there is no upside for SEC Chair Gary Gensler to approve a spot Ethereum ETF, given how upset progressive Democrats were over the agency's approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs earlier this month. So he's saying, look, don't expect anything too soon. A lot of people are anticipating this. As soon as the spot Bitcoin ETFs launched, a lot of people were running into Ethereum, trying to front run the opportunity there, hoping for an Ethereum ETF very soon. We do need to be cautious here. We did wait for those spot Bitcoin ETFs for a very long time. I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC put this off until the final deadline, once again, making us all wait. But I think eventually we will see these products come to market. Fingers crossed. It would be very nice to see, because as I said, it removes the barrier to entry for cryptocurrency. And a lot of retail investors want to get involved in the space and get exposure to the volatility of the assets without doing much research, and an ETF allows them to do that. But let's see what else is going on in the chat today. So in the news today, I keep saying in the chat today, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. What we've got here is Bitcoin's annualized volatility drops to lowest on record. The report suggests Bitcoin is becoming a calmer in its price action. So it's saying, look, volatility has been going down and down and down very nicely here. Bitcoin's 12-month volatility scored 179% in January 2012. This figure has continued to drop over time, reaching 45% this year. And this is something I imagine we will continue to see. What we have is obviously the 4-year cycles, big bull markets, big bear markets, but over time the kind of price range, the percentage changes in a bull market have been decreasing, the percentage changes in the bear market have been decreasing, and over time I expect this to continue. I don't think we're going to get these 4-year cycles forever. I think it will be a matter of we will start to even out. We will find Bitcoin's fair market value and we will have a much smaller range. We are not going to be able to print millionaires every 4 years for the rest of our lives. This is why we say this is a brilliant opportunity, a really exciting time for cryptocurrency. We don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know how many big bull markets and bear markets we are going to get. Yes, we may get bull markets and bear markets in a sense, but the volatility is dropping and the percentage changes will get smaller over time. And we'll have a smaller price point when Bitcoin finds its fair market value. And that's what all of this is. Constantly, markets are changing to try and find the asset's fair market value. Right now, obviously, Bitcoin is super volatile, but that's not going to last forever, in my opinion. And things will change. And we're saying here, analysts are saying the less volatility could mean more long-term holders. Well, we can see that when we look at the wallets. There's a huge amount of people that have bought Bitcoin and left it for the long term. If you take a look at on-chain analytics, you can see the number of wallets that have held Bitcoin for more than a year, more than 2 years, more than 3 years, and those wallets are just continuing to increase. They're called dormant wallets. Those wallets have just bought Bitcoin and just left it for a long period of time. The number of what people have done that have continued to go up as time goes on. Let's just see what else is going on. Whole City Group says the news of not approving Ethereum ETF soon is not surprising. No, I don't think it is. I think it will come at some point in time. Fingers crossed. It's a more complex one than the Bitcoin ETF because Bitcoin has not been labeled as a security. Bitcoin has been labeled to be not to be a security, so it kind of removes that issue, but then you get all of the issues again when it comes to Ethereum, its categorization. I think it needs to come. I think we need more clarity on regulation of the crypto space in the US before an Ethereum ETF comes. I do think the final deadline is the date that we will need to wait for because they just seem to let these things go. Jonathan says, hi Jess, I missed you. Thank you very much for coming back and checking out the stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button. Rob C says, Jess, one of the best news reporters on YouTube about crypto. Thank you very much, Rob. Into the Cosmos, hello. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's see what else is going on here. So Bitcoin, onto the next article here. Almost $700 million from hacks in 2023 was recovered, according to PeckShield. So a little bit of a promising article here. A recent PeckShield report has shown that 25% of stolen cryptocurrency was recorded in 2023, a $500 million improvement from 2022's figure. So brilliant to see here. Blockchain security firm PeckShield released data summarizing the financial losses attributed to hacks and scams in 2023. The report reveals a total loss of $2.61 billion. This figure represents a 27.78% decrease compared to the total global thefts reported in 2022, which amounted to around $3.6 billion. So huge numbers here, but they're saying, look, we were actually able to recoup a lot of the funds, which is brilliant. It's brilliant for investors, but these hacks still have a long-term impact on the projects. For example, Euler Finance is a project that got hacked last year in March, a lending protocol. It had over $300 million in TVL prior to that hack, and now it's down less than $100,000 TVL. Like that project, for it to recover, some serious work needs to go on, and I don't even know if it ever will be able to. So we see projects that have their reputation destroyed, their trust destroyed with their users, and it can never be repaired. Yes, it's brilliant that we can get those funds back, but the damage is done there with the hacks, and I think a lot more time needs to be spent on the security of these projects to create some positivity when it comes to the crypto space and increase the amount of adoption, because people are scared away from cryptocurrency for a reason. There are hacks in the space and we need to learn best practices to improve on that. But let's see what else is going on here in the market. So USDEA sees $150 million in crypto from dark web drug kingpin. So what's happened here is let's go down here. A British resident and Indian national aged 40 has agreed to forfeit $150 million in crypto to the US Drug Enforcement Agency, and the funds were proceeds from a dark web drug marketplace that he'd ran between 2012 and 2017. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of this story. If you want more news on this, I will drop the link to this in the chat today. Into the Cosmos says in the chat, pump on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at what's going on there. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button just so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Jonathan says, I lost $350 in the new year because I put my MetaMask seed phrase in an app from the App Store. I was tired. Oh no. Make sure never ever to share your seed phrase with anybody, whoever you think it is. Do all of the due diligence you can. Please make sure to stay safe online. It's the most annoying thing when things like that happen. You just kick yourself and think, why didn't I think about this? If you are in a rush, don't do anything when it comes to cryptocurrency. I always say that. If you are under time pressure, just don't do it. If you got 5 minutes and you want to send a transaction before you go out, wait until you get back. Don't try and send things super quickly, because the mistakes you can make can massively affect your portfolio. If you're on the wrong network when you're making a transaction, those funds are lost. You need to be super careful with what you're doing. Jonathan says it was a fake quick swap app. Shocking, really, that these apps are still able to get into the App Store. You need to be super careful with this. We all have some sort of trust with Apple that they don't put these apps in the App Store, but they seep through the net from time to time and they can take advantage there. So just be super careful. Never put your seed phrase in anywhere that you shouldn't. Obviously, with apps like QuickSwap, you shouldn't be giving them your seed phrase anyway. You should just be able to connect and make the transaction across. So just be super careful. Do not give your seed phrase out to anybody. If somebody's asking for your seed phrase, then your ears should prick up and you should ask some questions about what's happening here. Do they really need that? Are they legit? When it comes to your seed phrase, the only time that you would type that in is if you're moving your MetaMask wallet from one device to another. Something like this. You're not giving your seed phrase to decentralized exchanges, bridges. They don't need your seed phrase. So just be super, super careful when you are making transactions. Don't rush into anything too quickly. Always do your due diligence. We do have a course on cryptosavingexpert.com. If you go to the Academy section here, you go to Crypto 101, which is this section here. We have a course here that's only 20 minutes long. It's called Online Safety, where you can kind of get a refresher on how to keep yourself safe online, especially when you're in cryptocurrency. It's important to be taking a look at this. Obviously, when we are using cryptocurrency, we use self-custody from time to time, and that means we have control over our own funds, which we all see as a positive here. But it does mean that you need to make sure that you are keeping yourself safe. You are responsible for keeping your funds safe. You are responsible for getting access to a VPN, just making sure that you do all your due diligence before you click on any links. And all of that is described and explained in that crypto course, just to try and help people stay that little bit extra safe online, because we have control of our own funds. It's our responsibility to make sure we are safe. Jonathan says, I might do your course, Jess. Maybe the USDA can get it back. I'm really sorry that happened to you. It's very, very frustrating to see that people are losing funds to these hackers over and over again, and these scams over and over again. These apps shouldn't even be able to make it into the App Store, but they do. So we just need to do as much due diligence as possible. Jonathan's only been here since 2017. Well, I'm sure you've heard that kind of spiel before about staying safe online. We've all heard it, but we've all made stupid mistakes from time to time. So as long as we learn from them and just be super careful, and just hopefully it wasn't your entire portfolio, and we can rebuild that. Let's see what else is going on here. Invest Kramer ETF to stop trading after negative return. So the ETF that aimed to go against the host of Mad Money will shut down. It has been reported that the ETF product that solely aims to trade against Jim Cramer will halt trading after less than a year. So it decided to stop trading. Because it launched in March 2023, closed for trading after 13th of February and be liquidated because it wasn't profitable. Let's take a look at this. The ETF managed a mere $2.4 million in volume over the last 10 months. Alongside the lack of volume, the ETF was also down 15% from where it began last year, making a significant drawdown from its purpose. So it hasn't been fulfilling the job that it wanted, and it hasn't gained much traction, hasn't got much funds it hasn't got much money put into the fund, so they've decided to liquidate that. But let's take a look at what's going on here. So we can see Bitcoin is still moving to the upside on the 1 hour chart. If we take a look at this, it is pumping right now, looking very positive. If we go to the 4 hour chart, we can see the levels of resistance I'm looking at here. We clearly have one here at $44,250. We've got one here at $45,800, and we have one up at $49,000. If we were to zoom in further, we could probably identify some more. So there's definitely one around here as well at $47,100. All of of those levels of resistance worth watching out for. If we break above them, it would be really nice to see some of those being used as supports, but let's see if we can break above them first. I think if we get a rejection of this, which is a strong level of resistance to keep in mind, that's at $44,220, then we'll be looking back down at this level of support, which is between the $42,000 level and the $40,800 level. So all points to keep an eye on there. But that's all we really have for today's stream. Whole City Group says, please do an online course about Bitcoin ETF should be made available. That's a good idea. I will pitch that to the team later on today. Bitcoin ETF, I'll write that down and we'll take a look at that. That's a good idea because we're seeing a lot of questions about these, how they work. And I think it's really important to understand how these issuers of these ETFs are buying and selling the product, because there's been a lot of misinformation about the impacts the outflows and inflows in these ETFs have on the immediate value of Bitcoin. So it would be interesting to discuss that in more detail. That's a really good idea. Thank you, Whole City Group. Anything else going on in the chat here? Terry Toucan back in the chat. Thank you very much for tuning in as always. Let's see what's going on here. We've got 23 likes on today's stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look at what's going on with Ethereum here. So on the daily chart right now, what we can see is we are building some significant levels of support here. So I'm actually looking at a zone again here on Ethereum. So I'm looking at between that $2,170 and $2,212 at $17. That's a zone of support for me. So I'm going to draw that as a box once again, just so we don't get confused there. So that's a zone of support for me. And we obviously have some key levels of resistance right now. I'm looking at that at $2,360 to around here. That's another zone as well. Let's pull that up as a zone. So this has been used as a level of support and resistance within the last couple of weeks. This is between 2,360 and 2,420. Obviously, if we manage to break above those, we can start looking at those higher figures up there at 2,620. But right now, 2,320 is a healthy price for Ethereum. If we take a look, let's compare Ethereum to Bitcoin and see what's going on. Fonzie is in the chat. Hi, room. Anyone from Australia? We do have a couple of people from Australia in the chat. And I went to visit Australia just 1 month ago and had a lovely time visiting Sydney and Tasmania. So if you're in either of those areas, I was just there and it was amazing. It was lovely. It was hot. And now I'm back in cold and rainy England. But let's take a look at what's going on here on the chart. The Ethereum Bitcoin chart, we can see Ethereum is being outperformed by Bitcoin massively after that short pump on this chart following the Bitcoin ETFs launching. So seeing a little bit of retracement here. This is what I was hoping for. A lot of you know that I invested into Bitcoin 100% into Bitcoin during the bear market. I have said that between January and April, this is when I want to start diversifying a bit and then really diversifying in April. So seeing that chart rocket to the upside, I thought, oh, this isn't exactly what was in my plan, but we have seen a bit of a pullback here. I am looking to diversify around this time. And looking at some exciting altcoins, because typically in a bull market we see Bitcoin perform well, then the high cap coins, then the mid cap coins, then the low cap coins. Let's see what's going on here in the chat. Paul Thomas has joined the chat today. Hi everyone, the crypto space is a great place once you train your brain. Jonathan says, I missed the last 2 live streams because I didn't know when you were streaming. Yeah, we're streaming around 11-12 every day, but Spud, who you may have seen on the channel, has been interviewing a couple of different projects here on the channel now. So he is who was taking over the live streams throughout November, the end of November and December, whilst I was away traveling around Australia. So he's continuing to do some live streams from time to time, interviewing different projects, seeing what they're about, seeing what their missions are, and introducing you all to those projects. So he's been doing some on the channel as well. He is in a different time zone to me, so if he's interviewing someone, he's probably going to be taking that 11-12 o'clock slot, and I'll be doing one later in the day. So it does fluctuate sometimes, but the majority of the time the stream's between 11 and 12 every day in UK time. Let's see what else is going to... Fonzie said, did you go to Uluru? No, I did not. I went to Sydney. I went to Tasmania. I went from Hobart all the way down or up, all the way down the east coast. And then I went to Hong Kong, which was really, really interesting. New experiences. Jonathan says, shall I go back and watch? Yes, I think you should, 100%. Go back to the start of today's stream and see what's going on there. Let's see what's going on right now. What else is here in the chat? Jonathan says, anyone else from England? Anyone from, and everybody's in the chat today. We've got 31 people in the live chat today and 24 likes on today's stream. We've got a like goal of 30 likes on today's stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. I think this is all we have for today's stream. The live chat's just got active, but I think we've been through the latest crypto news today. We've looked at Bitcoin, we've looked at Ethereum, so I think we should wrap this up now. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I hope you have enjoyed. We will be back here tomorrow at the same time, so make sure to tune in then. I will see you.